All right, we good to go.
What's going on, guys? Landa checking in here. I'm here with BDA Law, Brago the Ace. What's going on, man?
Doing good, bro. What's going on with you?
I'm good. Just excited for this chapter, to be honest. I haven't been excited for a chapter like this in a very long time.
Cat.
What do you mean? Because Zoro isn't in it?
Yep.
You know what's the weird thing? Oh, people are so, can I say selfish? We haven't seen Sanji in a long time. We finally see him, even though we have been seeing Zoro and company for quite a bit.
Yeah.
And all of a sudden, it's like people pretending like, oh, they've just ditched Zoro and ditched Kid and Law. Like, they've been in the chapter for a very long time. Well, I mean, even the cover page, the cover page for volume 97 will be Luffy, Long, Kid.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's pretty.
Luffy, Long, Kid, and I think the Flying Six as well.
The Flying Six, yeah. I saw some different variation Oda was gonna do. I like those better. I like those better, to be honest. But I still like the.
It looks cool. Who's Who just looks weird a little bit.
Yeah, because he's in Oda does it in like a. How to describe, like somewhat of a hexagon thing, like
like he's trying to fit all of them in.
Yeah, fit all of them in there. It's like I would prefer if you'd have put Kid and Lawn and Luffy in the background, and then put a Flying Six.
Yeah.
And then show their full designs of their faces.
Yeah, he just has their faces, and that's like it's alright.
And I would like if he could also just put like Rio on Luffy's hand instead of like the regular ornament.
Well, I think he's trying to kind of imply
Luffy's
upgrading that technique.
The thing about it is that Luffy doesn't use Rio the same way. Here we go again. Luffy doesn't use advanced ornament the same way Yuger and Rayleigh use it. Like they use a palm
thrust.
Luffy uses his fist, which is what makes it so weird.
Which makes you wonder about, say he gets a new form, because Gear 4th has like a weird kind of
open palm stuff.
Yeah. Wonder if like he goes Gear 4th, if their advanced armament is going to be more effective. Because
I don't even know, man. There's just so much thing to examine with that.
Variables.
I don't even know. But one thing for sure, the Oda must have considered it, because Luffy did train Gear 4 while training the advanced ornament, so he should at least have an idea what he wants to do.
Yeah.
But we should be at least seeing some different variations here.
One would hope.
I pray, because trust me, I don't think advanced ornament on his face is enough to be Kaido. Especially if we're supposed to. Well, a lot of people seem to forget that Kaido himself too have Aki. Whenever the conversation comes on the Kaido durability versus advanced ornament, people always just assume that Kaido's durability is one dimensional. Like the only way it can be durable is by natural means. Like Kaido can also reinforce his entire scales with ornament Haki, which should have a different layer.
Do you think? Wait, have we seen him reinforce?
No, but I mean, to be quite fair, we didn't see Big Mom use Haki all the way up to the tea party, so. And the fact that he knows about Rio, which is Haki, that I assume that he has it.
Yeah, I'm going to assume that he has it, but I guess because a lot of times for people, if they don't see it, that just means that it's not possible or it doesn't exist. So I think once people see him use it, then it's like, okay,
I think there should be somewhat of a statute limitation on that. Like if you don't see somebody use a power over a good period of time, like 3 or 4 arcs, then probably they don't have it. But for Kaido, we haven't really been caught in like that combative situations. We haven't really seen him need to use it, because I mean,
what about the beast pirates?
The beast pirates, I mean, it hasn't been confirmed that Jack has Haki as well. The V record didn't say that Jack has Haki either, which is.
It didn't say he had it, but it didn't say he didn't.
I don't remember what exactly happened, but
it just didn't say he had it, right? Because normally this person has armament, conquers, whatever.
Considering that Oda pretty much says that anyone has ornament or observation, and Jack And Jack didn't really have anything next to his name, kind of make people suspicious. But he should have it. I mean, there have been scenarios where he's prestige enough to have it.
And I mean,
but for so
that
far,
conversation is difficult because
yeah,
we let's talk. We can go to Sanji, and well, I guess specifically hardening.
Okay, for Sanji, it's a bit more easy to understand because again, Sanji have never really been that character who specialized in that era, so it's not hard to believe that he doesn't have it. But then again,
I think when we see people fodder that we deem as fodder using hardening, it's like But I'm not sure if Oda's trying to sell that Diablo Jambe is kind of Sanji's level of that, but
Okay, this is my explanation for why I think this is going the way it is. People view Haki as this nominal scale where they're all equal on each level. So if they see somebody use Haki, they assume that for you to defeat them, you must need Haki, which I don't think Oda write the story that way. So even though Sanji can't use Hardening, I'm pretty sure he can defeat probably 90% of people that we see use Hardening with his base Haki. The same way Luffy can defeat the Boa sisters without Haki by using physical strength.
Right.
Because he's greater than theirs. But the reason why I say Sanji probably doesn't have Hardening is that Sanji have used Haki before. We know for a fact that Judge said he used it.
Said he used Haki.
Most likely used it versus the Daifuku when he clashed at the end of Oak Island. Sanji have always have an issue when it comes down to physical strength of the characters. I wouldn't be surprised if Oda someone give him a bit of a deficiency in that area.
Are you saying Haki is overrated?
Well, it depends on the character. Like for Oden, for someone like Oden who physically who's more so determined in physical strength, for him it is, because again he doesn't really need Haki to boost up the physical strength that he would have. Another example of Haki.
Well, when I say Haki, let me be specific. Hardening.
I wouldn't say it's overrated because it obviously gives you a buff, especially for swordsmen, where it protects your sword. But so far, it's definitely needed. But there have been scenarios where characters that are so powerful that they can compete with their base strength against characters who do have hardening.
But you don't think you can protect your sword with the regular Haki without hardening?
Well, you should be able to, but given the scenario that Miyako said about hardening and it need to become a black blade to be unbreakable, Oda pretty much read it that way.
It's implying that hardening is more potent than regular Haki.
Yeah, and you can go back to Jack as well. I mean, Jack's sword got ripped in half by Ashradoji, a character that we're saying don't have Haki. So that would be another scenario to show that maybe him not having Haki is why Ashradoji cut his sword in half. But this Haki thing ties back into Whitebeard and Oden. When they first clashed, a lot of people said they're equal terms. And I point out to many people that if you look carefully, Oden used Haki, but Whitebeard didn't. Which is one of the things I'm trying to point to people that Whitebeard physical strength just on the base level might be great enough to compete with Rayleigh. No, might be great enough to compete with Oden, who's using Armament Hardening. The same way Luffy can compete with the Boa sisters with just physical strength versus their Haki. So for Sanji, it wouldn't really matter if he has Haki or no, unless he goes up against top tiers, which Haki would be very great. It is confusing. Because it's getting less and less significant as we go forward.
I've always maintained that the higher the level of fight, right? I think as far as matchups, it matters a bit less because you've gotten to a point where you're stronger and you've overcome several disadvantages already. And I think for Sanji, not having or displaying armament hardening, it's not too much to his detriment because Oda is supplementing it with a bunch of different things.
That is a good way to explain it, but you want to be careful with that because, again, we have seen two scenarios where having weaker Haki pretty much lead to people's defeat. Peak and Virgo. I mean, they both have weaker Haki or cutting power compared to Law and Zoro. And they pretty much got one shot. So It depends.
That's a weird one with swords and
swords does give you an advantage by cutting stuff, which
and with law's power as well. That's still a bit ambiguous, right? Because that could work in a story at any time, and you don't need a detailed explanation to say, oh, why Law cut somebody.
Yes, he's one of those characters.
You could literally say, well, Law's hockey was stronger at this time with his devil fruit. That's why he was able to do it. Even if his hockey isn't, I guess on a regular basis stronger than another character. So,
speaking of Law, he's also a very weird character too, because Law have advanced. He had armament hardening, but he never put it in his sword.
Yes.
Which create this idea that maybe to put it in your sword, to flow it into your blade or into your medium, is a different specialization than the one you would normally learn. But then again, the same
Virgo did that with his bamboo. I don't know, but Virgo was pretty much. That was his primary fighting style. So I don't know.
Oda did specify that Virgo is a very good ornament user because he's able to withstand the same density in his bamboo, even with haki in it. But Oda's lost. I wouldn't say he has lost a stone regarding haki, and I know officially should be, but he definitely create somewhat of a rift, a disconnect to the higher you go up, the more you're able to use certain haki types by making people of lower stature be able to use certain haki types that even the higher ones haven't been able to use.
Yeah.
Because Father Marines flow their haki into their blades.
Yeah.
Why shouldn't Law be able to do it?
It's just personally, I believe it's just something Oda just hasn't touched on yet.
Yeah.
Or he doesn't deem as important enough.
And again, the same argument can be made for the Yonkos. If Katakuri have future sight, what is a Big Mom? What isn't Shanks? What doesn't Kaido? It's like people are assuming that there you go. If a right hand and a lower character can achieve some level of power, the higher up, so more potential, should be able to do the exact same thing. And even though it should be that way in most traditional shonen, in One Piece, it's pretty much not the same.
Yeah, it's what was that? I was just rereading Enies Lobby and.
You're reading Enies Lobby.
Yeah, just looking at the jump that the Straw Hats had from.
Yep.
Water 7 to Enies Lobby, and it's basically stated that they got several levels higher, just off of just some short battles. They weren't anything too significant, but they said they got. Zoro himself said, I'm a lot stronger now.
A lot stronger.
So, it doesn't take much for them. So I think hockey in general, Oda is still fleshing it out, and the deeper you dig in regards to this power, you could find flaws or inconsistencies, I would say. But I think at the end of the day, we gotta just try to examine it on a case by case basis, because I don't think there is a general it's a general way to look at it.
There is no real standard that
because I feel like in different situations in regards to hockey, like talking about Odin and Whitebeard, and we have Law and Virgo, then Zoro and Pika, we have Luffy and Katakuri. It's like
that is a good example as well.
Yeah, because Katakuri had a second
advantage.
He had a second level, and it's all just, at the end of the day, if we're talking about fights and power scaling, it seems like it just comes down to will.
It really does. and that's a problem, because I've always said that willpower is unquantifiable. At any point it can be whatever Oda wants it to be,
right?
And at that point, it just can justify you beating anyone
just because you have more will.
Exactly. Truth to be told, if somebody does have a superiority over you in certain aspects, you shouldn't be able to surpass them given such limited time. That doesn't make any sense. But
it's funny, I was watching Attack on Titan, and when Eren is fighting the female Titan, spoiler alert, people, everyone watch Attack on Titan. This is this was at least 10 years old, right?
Yeah, it is. It's a very long
Yeah,
time.
yeah. When Aaron's fighting Annie, John says, Aaron, he's never gonna give up, and I think Armin says, well, you can't just overcome everything through will, right? Like you just can't just overcome everything just through sheer willpower. She's stronger. And then they went on to say to overcome something stronger than you. I'm kind of summarizing here. You have to be willing to sacrifice something. Right?
Okay.
So I wonder if for Luffy, by the end of it, like, is Oda going to say, you know, through all these battles, Luffy has been sacrificing something to kind of gain the advantage in some of these matchups? Because we know, like, the lifespan thing has been touched on before. With Law, definitely it's a thing. But for Luffy, how much, as far as like his usage of haki, his over usage of haki, do you think at some point it could have an impact on his actual life?
It could definitely have, but then again, this idea of overcoming isn't even something that is specific to Luffy. I mean, the first person who ever really did it was Zoro. I mean, what's the argument for that? Zoro losing his lifespan too? He took an insane jump versus Mr. One. He never cut steel before. He tried twice prior to Mr. One. When he tried to cut the candy wax, failed. He tried to cut the steel that Mr. That VV partner, steel and the VV partner put it on his hand. He couldn't cut it, but once he needed to cut it, he cut it.
The thing,
so it's a One Piece thing.
There's a difference with Zoro, I think, though, because Zoro is more technique than will. I think I think will is involved because I guess you need the will to learn this on the spot, but it's just him learning this technique to cut steel. It's, you know what I'm saying? Like what Zoro did with the breath of all things, it's weird because that ties into Rio.
Yeah, it does ties. I mean, the definition is pretty much pretty much the exact same.
Where it's more so control, right? Which I think is the theme of what Rio is, where it's like learning controlling, and I'm assuming the breath of all things is being able to remove the haki or whatever it is from one part of your blade completely through this control, and then basically having enough at one part of your blade so you can cut anything.
That's a good definition of it, but I always find that the breath of all things is kind of multifaceted because it does speak to Armin hard. It does speak to Armin hardening, but again, remember Zoro used that to also be able to hear the stones where they weren't falling.
Dodging,
so it goes into observation haki as well. So we don't even know what the hell that is. If Oda
I think that's something Oda just like he meant to expound upon it, and it was like,
yeah. Plus, again, I think the main thing I was trying to say is that One Piece, the story has become where power-ups have not power-ups, but growth has become an event, not a process. It doesn't matter how hard you train for something or how well you train, how many times you get to train it. Most growth happen in battle, which I disagree that it should happen in battle, but it happens that way for pretty much every character. And it creates a problem because it does put a character who was in a superior position looking pretty stupid, because all of a sudden you're winning by far, but then this dude is going to this growth phase and he just surpass you.
So you think power-ups are more momentous than earned?
Most.
Okay.
Most, definitely most. I mean, especially without a build-up. I mean, for Ashura, I mean, I love Zoro a lot, but where'd Ashura come from?
Yeah. That, I mean, hey, I don't know.
I have no idea. I mean, he just created with his willpower because he wanted to. Anyway, this is a conversation that could go
we could go on forever.
And I haven't even touched on certain stuff yet, because I wanted to touch on Katakura and Luffy and how his ornament haki is superior, but Luffy still technically won, which goes back to your argument that doesn't even matter.
Yep. So that's why before we get to the chapter, That's why I want people to understand that with power scaling, it's sometimes you try to include the narrative, but most times you cannot, because say for instance Zoro, if I think Zoro and Ashura Doji, if they fight, even if I think they're on the same level, if they fight in the story, Zoro's gonna win.
Yes.
Right? So it's like, normally when people power scale, you're kind of taking these two characters, putting them in a situation in which, all right, narrative be damned, who's stronger, and this is both characters are at peak performance, right? Where a lot of times when people power scale, people think of the story, and they think of, when people hear power scalers, they think of the story, they think of, okay, what are you talking about? It's Luffy's story. Why wouldn't Luffy be able to beat him? So when people talk about Katakuri and Luffy, we're not talking about in that specific situation, even though we think, okay, we understand the meaning behind it, because people always say, oh, you don't understand what was going on. We understand, right? But we're saying based on the tools and the things they have in their arsenal, the simplest way I can put it is that in the One Piece story, Katakuri would be able to defeat more people than Luffy would.
Yes. And I could piggyback off of what you're saying, that if Katakuri were to be engaged in a neutral fight with somebody who doesn't have the plot as a disposal, like for instance, say Jack, I don't think that fight's even a mid difficulty.
Yeah, Katakuri. That's the thing. Katakuri has a power that could finish fights very quickly. The fight that we like, when you remove basically the veil of invincibility that the main character has sometimes.
Yep.
The fight that I go to is Ichiji, who I don't think is weak at all. Ichiji is fairly powerful.
Yeah, he's powerful. Right? Yeah. His own right, yeah.
He went at Katakuri.
Yeah, he did. Yeah.
And then in 1 second, it was over.
Yeah, I mean, speaking about that, I was watching a reaction to that back in chapter 871. Yeah, that was hilarious. If you guys haven't seen the reaction from Brago, it's still watchworthy. It's
871. I don't even remember.
Yeah, it's 871. You're in a group reaction actually.
Oh, the group reaction. Okay.
And when you went at Katakuri, you were saying, "Let's go!" And the next page, half a page of the Brule transform into Caesar. You were like, "Oh shit!" That quickly. For many people don't really understand what I mean by Katakuri probably fought the right Jack. They're probably saying, well, Jack is really strong.
Yeah.
Do you have in many scenarios where characters are close in strength, but Oda still find room for a one shot? I mean, look at Zoro and T-Bone. Zoro thinks T-Bone is very strong, but it's a one shot.
Yeah, it's okay. That's the thing, where especially in sword fights in One Piece, where essentially they're meant to end quickly. And this is something that My Hero covers as well, where for pro heroes, they want to end fights quickly to minimize just damage to the city and possible risk to civilians. In One Piece's sword fights, the goal is to end it's going to end quicker because they're using swords. They're using sharp objects. Exactly. So I think we have to judge those fights a bit differently, where it's like for Killer, for instance, Zoro absolutely dominated that fight, but I would still say it's a mid-diff because there were a bunch of exchanges in the fight. You have dialogue with the fight where Zoro talking about Killer. So it's like, even though the fight was relatively short, it was still a fairly difficult fight based on them actually using swords. Where we can't, like, I think a fight, judging those fights in comparison to like Luffy's fights where you're just throwing fists, it's completely different.
It is completely different, and it goes back to the Scavengers having Kaido, Luffy not being able to damage Kaido, despite the ice saying that Luffy did more, quote unquote, damage to Kaido, where he's able to even push him back in dragon form, force him to retreat back to human form. Yeah. He didn't technically damage him, but he does show that he has more force, where the Scavengers didn't really do anything, but just pierced him. Yeah, exactly. They're able to pierce him, but they didn't really do anything compared to Luffy, who was pushing him back and having people, onlookers, saying that he's pummeling him, which looks that way. But so Luffy does have the force to cause the damage, but now we have the ability to pierce him. Yes, and it's not coincidental that Oda chose swords that would be used, because it's much easier to justify that, because again, it's a sharp object.
Right.
It's basically doing the work for you.
Right.
And
right. That's why I feel like for Zoro,
it's way more easier. Yeah.
It's easy to power him up. You know,
very easy. It's easy to power anyone with a weapon up. You can power them up by themselves. Power their swords up.
That's why the raid suit is, as much as I dislike it, I understand the genius behind it.
Okay.
Like, I understand.
We can talk about that as we go forward. We haven't even started. There's so many stuff to talk about in this series, man. Oda have created probably.
That's great.
He's created a great series. You can
talk about something every day for like the next year,
man. Every single
and
hour.
don't talk about the same thing again.
So chapter 988. Sorry for the wait. So the cover page. Oda
said that, then goes on break again.
Say what?
Oda says sorry for the wait and then goes on break again.
Yeah, which is kind of funny, right?
Love to see it.
One day we're gonna have to talk about if Oda is probably selfish for not including his own break in Shueisha's break, but taking his break separate from Shueisha's break. Which is kind of weird, because it's like you get a break already, but you still want to take yours.
It's kind of like what Oda does, because I do it sometimes.
You do sometimes your work.
No, it's like when you got, like, for instance, say you got a holiday on a Monday.
Mm-hmm.
I take the Tuesday off.
Oh, okay. even though you got the holiday already,
yes.
to Cooper, you still take your own.
I still take my own day just to have a longer break, you know?
I feel you.
Yeah, so I think that's what I compare it to.
So Pound, I don't know if this is Pound trying to show the determination, and even though many people say that, well, they should convince Chiffon and Lola that he is their dad, I know. As I said before, the only way you can actually confirm this is if Big Mom herself tell them. Because no one have any even self-reporting to even justify why they should believe him. They have no recollection of him in their life. Pez is too young to speak, because Pez did see him hit Hoven in the head.
Yeah. And
save them, but he can't tell them that to confirm that he's a good guy.
He's reacting positively though.
Yeah, I
or he's just excited.
Face. I want to see his face, because I think he's crying right now. We're talking about Pez. Yeah. Absolutely. Pez is definitely fun.
He's happy.
He's fun of Pound.
Yeah.
But I'm just trying to think of a way of how we convince them.
I think it's just a desperation.
It is.
Where like I said, you could take it two ways. Where one way is like, all right, this dude's insane, right? He's obsessed. He's insane. Yeah. I don't know who this guy is. But the other side is like, okay, this guy is willing to go these lengths just to say he's our father. Let's actually think about this.
Mm-hmm.
You know, let's actually, you know, just have a conversation. Remember we talked before about, you know, why Capone doesn't know Pound, but then we got into it. It was like, well, Big Mom kind of discarded him.
Mm-hmm.
But I don't know. It says volume 32.
Oh God, 32 weeks, man.
It's almost a year of this.
Yeah, I know. So let's see if Pound showing himself in danger. Justified and believe him that they must be their dad, because there's no way a regular person would care for them that much, or at least risk his life to be with them this much.
Exactly.
But let's say that's what Oda is going for.
This confirms Pound doesn't have a devil fruit too, right?
You say what?
Confirms Pound doesn't have a devil fruit.
Yes, it definitely confirms. So no apple juice devil fruit.
Yeah, no apple juice devil fruit.
And he's doing a backstroke too, which is kind of insane. So we start off with something that's going to go into a lot of speculation. So Kaido's like, yes, on beneath the full moon, you minks turn into moon lions, berserkers known as Sulang.
All right.
Whoa. And this also goes into Jack saying that the next page that he knows about their short lifespan, which, okay, so are the minks some mystery anymore in terms of what we assume the Beast Pirates would know about them? Because Kaido knows about their Sulang form, and Jack knows about their the short lifespan of the Sulang form. So was it really ambiguous to them anyway?
That's something I was thinking as well. How Kaido seems to know about the minks, but I was like, if Kaido knows about the minks, I would assume he would try to recruit them.
Yes, because it makes a lot of sense, right?
Makes a lot of sense. They're animals. It goes with his theme, but he knows about the situation. I'm just assuming it's a one-off that Kaido met in the past. Like, you know, I mentioned how we met Zeppo back in the day.
Okay. Yes, Whole Cake, yeah.
In Whole Cake. Maybe Kaido met someone that was a mink, and he, you know, and something that also ties into it is the fact that Odin told him to get stronger, and I'm assuming with getting stronger, it meant like getting more information. I mean, he got a poneglyph, right? So
yes,
it's like,
he does. Yes,
so Kaido,
definitely aware.
We haven't seen it. Well, I guess we have, but Kaido is moving around a lot. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
He moves around, so it's not far fetched that he at some point stumbled upon a mink and learned some more about these animals that were walking and talking things. You know, so that's how I justify that. And of course, if he has that information, his crew would have the information as well. But okay, I'm not sure if they're going to get more into it though, as far as like specifically how Kaido knows about it.
For those who don't know, Kaido didn't necessarily live on Onigashima for all of his time in Wano Country. There was a period of time where Kaido seemed to reside somewhere else, because Onigashima was just built 20 years ago. Kaido didn't want to fight. He didn't want to fight Odin at his newly built mansion. So,
right. So he was
the reason I'm getting into
else.
that is that Kaido has spent some considerable time in Wano Country. What are the odds that he researched and certain stuff? Because Kaido said something to Odin that was very interesting in chapter 970. He said that Odin doesn't represent the old Kozuki ways. So what does Kaido know about the old Kozuki? I mean, apart from Susayaki, who else could he possibly know that a Kozuki? Maybe Kaido has been researching for a very long time.
Maybe Wano wasn't just coincidence. He's been searching for an opening for a while.
Yeah. So maybe Odin words about getting stronger really did motivate Kaido to look into what was going on and maybe find different ways to improve himself, and in doing that he stumbled upon the minks and their knowledge. Or maybe Kaido is very versed in Wano knowledge, because he did mention Ryo instead of saying ornament hardening or
haki,
which means he said a regional term. So Kaido seems to be very knowledgeable in Wano, at least when it comes down to their affiliations.
More than likely, he's a naturalized citizen of Wano.
Yeah, he is, because again, I would love Oda to expand upon where he was living before Onigashima. He couldn't possibly be there.
Into it. Yeah, Oda definitely didn't get into that. Will he? I don't know. Well, the thing is, the name of Onigashima is important, because didn't Marco say?
Yes, that place called Onigashima.
That's what they're calling it now. So he probably will touch on the lore of Onigashima at some point, and maybe we'll get where Kaido used to stay. But I think Kaido's backstory is going to be one of the more interesting ones. Yeah, because I'm like, is Oda going to go the route of Kaido having some actual grudge against Wano? Like, is Kaido going to be tied to the dragon that Ryuma cut down? Like, is Kaido from a long line of dragons? You know, it's just like, you know, with or dragon devil fruit users, because what I'm thinking of is like Pell, you know, Pell and Chaka.
Yes,
where that's kind of like in their family, where they get passed down their devil fruit.
Yes,
like, could it be the same thing with Kaido?
I once had a theory a long time ago, before we learned about Ryuma and what he did in the Furrow capital, that Kaido's that the dragon Ryuma slayed was a devil fruit user with the same Eastern dragon that Kaido has. But it's kind of been debunked, because the anime and Oda making monsters canon, they show that Ryuma killed a Western dragon. Yeah. So it's not the same as Kaido, but you could find some way to the phrase that it could find some way to articulate it, that they're somewhat relatives in some sense. Yeah. That's what you said. But if I would take a guess where Kaido was staying, I would probably say Ringo, and I would say Ringo for one reason. That's where Iman get to Moria fought. Yeah, that's where Iman get to Moria fought. So I'd assume that that's where the battleground actually happened. And Kaido would need some of the station, because remember, Kaido had his forces in Wano Country before Onigashima. I mean, King was there 23 years ago versus the Gekko pirates. Yeah. So Oda need to really tell us where Kaido was staying in Onigashima. Wano Country prior to Onigashima. and why he knows so much. So we move on to okay. So the minks are they noticeable. I'm not looking at the moon. So Jack came, which he came with some smart fruit users, which are very interested. And the one on the right, who has a snake, he creates an argument that's definitely interesting. So okay, I don't know if you remember, but when we were learning about the history of one country, on the propaganda that Orochi was being spread in Odin, it was spread on Odin by saying that Odin are the traitors, Kozuki are wrong. By using the teacher, remember the teacher? She had a snake small fruit.
She did.
This guy here has a snake. So, is there possible that the small fruits have different variation or different variation of the similar fruit?
Could be a different snake.
Oh, that could go that road.
Yeah,
I could definitely see
boa
that.
constrictor as opposed to like an anaconda or something like.
Yeah, it could definitely do something like that.
Yeah.
But for sure, I'm assuming that we will see a recurring animal theme in one. I don't think Oda's gonna throw 500 different species. No, I'm pretty sure
it's beautiful. I mean, like, just thinking how Oda wrote the story and how now is the Beast Pirates versus the Minks. It's like,
yeah, it is pretty beautiful. And, I mean, reference it at the end too that the Beast Pirate have animals too. So
I was just thinking of Skypiea, right, and just how flawless writing that is. Where you have Luffy, who he's a rubber fruit user.
Yep.
And then you have someone like Enel, who's, basically views himself as a god, as a lightning user. And just how seamlessly those two met. And there's a battle of ideals and just, how they went through life. But it's just like, while I was watching One Piece at the time, I didn't make the connection that Luffy was rubber and Enel was electricity until it happened. Right?
Yeah.
And then, like, when I think back at just like the story up until that point, I was like, that's just like Oda is different in regards to structure of a story, and decades later, there's still a bunch of things happening in the story that are not only, sometimes it's irony, but that sometimes it's just beautiful connections and things coming full circle. And I feel like Oda doesn't get enough credit for that, because a lot of times where it's like people point out the flaws in the things he does, but like sometimes when you just think about like what's going on in the story, it's like, oh man, this just happened so seamlessly based on just a sequence of events. Like, you gotta just appreciate it when it happens. And this is one of the times where I'm like, all right, the Minks fighting the Beast Pirates is like, yeah, we're all animals. It's like, man,
yeah, it does complement each other.
Yeah.
So Jack did something that I'm pretty proud of Jack for doing, because I don't remember, all the way back since Jack met Hawkins, we saw a different version of Jack where he's being accountable, he's been a good listener,
being questioned,
he's trying to gain knowledge, and he's asking questions that typically we didn't assume that he would normally do based on his portrayal prior to that point, because he was portrayed to just be a savage beast, just do things off impulse,
mindless.
Yeah, but no, Jack is I liken Jack grow to that of UP from Hunter x Hunter, where he was an infant, he didn't have any base stars. So no, he's fully grown.
I believe he's the youngest out of the clan. He's a lot younger. Like,
he's a lot younger. Like, he was pretty much eight.
But when Kata took over on him.
He's saying some good stuff here.
Well, remember, I think we said that there's a fine line between, like, was it initiative and impulse? Where, like, in this situation, it looks like Jack is taking the initiative, right? But I think based on who Kaido was going up against, Jack could not resist. Like, he was like, what, the Minks?
Yes.
Yo, no, I am definitely going to confront these guys,
I think there are a lot of factors that motivate Jack to do what he did here. I think it's somewhat of a feeling of guilt,
Yeah.
and accountability, because the Minx
Right.
being here is pretty much his fault, because he was able to take care of them. When we couple that with the pressure the king and queen put on him by calling him losers constantly, you could see why he wanted the chance to redeem himself.
Even though him trying to redeem himself for something that even if King went to Zoe, it'd be the same outcome, unless King kills them himself.
Yeah,
But at the end of the day, the
they
goal,
weren't budging.
they weren't
Yeah.
budging, right? And we don't know of King's torture methods, right?
Well, yeah, but given determination, given determination of Nekomamushi and Arashi, I don't think it would work.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. Like, I don't think Queen or King
Our
would
king
get
would have
Raizo,
gotten in this.
you know. So Jack, he's in a situation in which, all right, no matter what, he would have taken the L there. So it's like going to try to redeem yourself. It's noble, you know.
Yeah, it's noble. And again, it's not just Jack who was a he's driven by impulse too, and the need for revenge. Because Nekomamushi and Arashi, the moment they see him, they told everyone to stay back. They want to be the one to fight him, and Raizo is pretty much laying down his life, saying he was the man that they were hiding.
Yeah,
and he plans to repay it.
Yeah.
For many people, using this as evidence to justify that Raizo would do something versus Jack. I don't think so. I think Raizo matchup is pretty much set in stone versus Fugoku Roju, because they were rival ninjas.
Yeah.
But
he may do something to help the fight, but
yeah, he might do something to actually help the fight, because he does hold him a huge debt.
Yeah.
So I could see Oda trying to have him redeem himself. But Blackback and Rody, they
my guy Blackback.
Yeah, telling you, man, that name is crazy. It's the guy that fatherized
John Bart.
John Bart, yep. So on this again, Jack's reaction, it was you.
You didn't like that?
There's something that I've kind of always not been able to shake off. And it's the idea that, was Jack really around when Kaido fought Odin? We never saw him in the flashback at all.
No.
The only evidence that we have that he was around was when Oda draw like a silhouette of the building burning, and they draw
these guys are different than the
they look completely exactly. So I'm wondering if Oda drew the image of their current designs, but he never planned to really have them. It's kind of weird to understand, because
Kaido had different calamities back then.
Again, we never saw Jack, and Jack age made it kind of impossible for him to be there. And when you just oppose how Jack react to the scabbards compared to King, where King immediately noticed the red scabbards because he fought them,
right?
But Jack doesn't know who Raizo
had to identify himself.
Exactly. You could assume that if Jack were back then, wouldn't he have any idea what Raizo looked like? He shouldn't be saying, so it was you. I mean,
this goes back to the conversation of like Raizo being on Zoe. It was just strictly because of Kanjuro, right? That's how they knew. Right?
Yes, but I'm mostly speaking about Raizo design and the fact that he hasn't changed much over the years, because he went to the future too, right?
Right.
So if Jack was back then, he should be able to recognize him in the same way King recognized all of the red scabbards.
The thing is,
the same way Kaido recognized Ashura Doji.
Say Jack was at Odin's execution, right?
Mm-hmm.
Would he know each scabbard by name?
He probably should, because Kaido did do a lot of research. Kaido did even know Uro the Flower, so Kaido did know this the samurai the samurais of Wano. He should know who they are. Right. I'm assuming that. And again, this is also complemented by the fact that Jack didn't even know who Ashura Doji was when he met him. Because remember, when he saw I'm shooting Maru, he's like, so you're shooting Maru.
Yeah.
But if he had known, if he was there, wouldn't he know that that's Ashura Doji?
And he's been there for 20 years, by the way. And Ashura Doji's been there in Wano for 20 years.
20 years, yeah. When you just suppose that whole Kaido immediately recognized Ashura Doji when he saw him, and the way King immediately recognized them when he saw them, that doesn't seem like he was actually there, which is weird. mean, was he really there? I mean, the evidence says
The evidence says he's there, but really young.
But again, Braga, wouldn't he be able to recognize? I mean, he has mistaken them twice. Like he doesn't know who Ashura Doji is. When he saw Shutemaru, he still called him Shutemaru. When Kaido sees Ashura Doji, he immediately recognized him instantly. Like, you're that guy with Dendro who stopped me 20 years ago. And when King saw them, he immediately said the Red Scabbers. But Jack is, you're Raizo, you're Ashura Doji. It doesn't.
I think based on the designs, you can kind of point out Queen, you can point out King. The other person, I was like, that I'm not sure if that's Jack. So I'm assuming Jack is a new, maybe a new Scabbard.
Yeah. And again, a lot of people say that
Calamity. Yes.
Calamity. And a lot of people saying that drawing that Oda did isn't really accurate to what actually happened at the castle, where it implied that Jack, King, or Queen was there, because the only person who really saw there was King who set the fire. Yeah. So we don't even know that's even accurate to what Oda. That's accurate to what actually happened. So it is weird. It's in the air if Jack is really a new Calamity, or if he's not. Because for him not to know Oriza look is also weird. It is weird. And when you just suppose that the King, who he saw them for a split second, and just to make it known that King actually knows the one who samurai very well, he even recognized Izo, which left a very long time ago. Which you could make the argument that he knows Izo because of the Whitebeard system, but he's the only one that you can actually see that knows them, because he fought them along with Queen. But Jack doesn't seem to be that person similar to them.
I think we gotta wait and see with Jack.
Yeah, I would love some confirmation if Jack was actually there, because if Jack was there, it would have been 8 years old. And for those who don't know, Jack currently 28.
He'd be very young.
He'll be very young. So let's see if Oda confirmed Jack presence back then, or if it's confirmed that he is a very new Calamity. So Rhodey and BB, what can they actually accomplish with the Musketeers against Jack and the numbers?
I think this is the Rhodey, BB, Sicilian, those guys. They're going to be fighting numbers. I think Jack is going to have a quick scuffle with the Inarashi and Nekomamushi.
Okay, so they're here to actually stop him from doing that. So do you think they actually accomplish even half that goal? Like, even manage to scar Jack?
No, I don't think so.
I don't think so either, because I see this type of hype too for Jack to Oda kind of reinforce that Jack is still strong, because a lot of people have been kind of writing Jack off.
Also, hype too for the numbers, to show that even while these people are transformed, and again, Jack says this is not going to last long, just hold them up, don't fall back, right? So like, I think, and we saw one of the numbers, I think we're going to see number 7. We're going to see the numbers here, and they're going to show their stuff.
Well, I hope so, because
the mix, they have their forces, and Jack, he has his forces as well.
His forces, okay. Next question: we see a good amount of the gifters here. How many do you think Zoro, Kid, and Killer actually took out? Because I'm leaning towards half.
Yeah, I think by themselves they took half.
Yeah, took about half, because there still to be a good number of them that's still remaining. So we're gonna see them. We're gonna see them going forward for sure.
It's interesting that this too long thing, the beast part's probably the worst. It's a bad matchup.
It is, because it's gonna get animals too who have some idea of animalistic characteristics that you can actually do. If it goes up against humans who didn't understand it, then sure.
But also, remember when Jack went to Zoe, they said other than, obviously they could beat everybody else other than Jack, but Jack also had like an undead army, because they kept coming back.
Yes, a good point.
Like with the Sulong, it's not gonna last that long, because artists die. And for these Zoan users, they could take a beating. So,
either they're just that powerful where they can rip them apart in short period of time, or they're going to be playing to Jack's strength again by using durability, because Jack can hold out. He can hold out for sure.
That's the thing.
He can hold out. So Kaido in this chapter looks pretty still. He doesn't make a
Just
movement
calm.
at all. He just looks he looks generic.
You know, like when you're fighting like in a game, and like the final boss is behind everyone, and he's just there, just waiting, and the animation, and he's just moving and just waiting. That's what Kaido's doing right now. He's just in the background, just waiting for them to beat the little minions so they can get to him first. That's what's happening.
Also, this confirmed to me that Oda isn't going to actually give defined drawings to every single main, because they look pretty generic in terms of like the beast characteristics.
Are you talking about like unique Sulong transformation?
I think we're gonna see unique one for Nekomusha and Arashi, and maybe Beppo.
Yeah.
But
if Beppo goes crazy here, does that change how you feel about him as a right hand of law?
Beppo isn't here?
I'm saying if Beppo goes crazy in regards to in Sulong form, would that, like, who does Beppo have to defeat for you to say, all right, Law has a competent right hand?
I don't think the right hand position is dependent on who he really beats in terms of how we view him. I think it's who he beats in comparison to who Zoro and Killer beats, because I mean those are his rivals. So if Zoro and Killer is gonna fight commanders, at least have clashed with them, or fight flying six members, I mean at the bare minimum he has to be the flying six. But if you're asking in terms of like how competent he would look as a right hand, I mean, if he could defeat a couple numbers, then yeah, it would justify him being competent. But in terms of being competent enough to compete against the other right hands, minimum numbers.
I think it's important as well to point out that Law, in comparison to Luffy and Kid, he's a much different, not only character, but he has much different methods than they do. Where Law would more so find a way around an obstacle, where Luffy and Kid, they have no problem attempting to go through it, bashing their head against the wall. You know, so I'm gonna just say this: if Law has like a secret weapon that we don't know about yet in regards to on his crew, I would not be surprised.
I wouldn't be surprised too. I thought they were gonna say that if Law were to figure out some way to make Beppo stay in Sulong without the moon, I thought that was what you're gonna say, because I
think that's possible as well.
Yeah.
I just can't figure out a way other than a rumble ball or something that Law could create something similar to that. Then, you know, because if Beppo can use Sulong in a regular transformation without the moon, then he's definitely comparable.
Yeah, it'll be a force, but again, it completely depends on how far Oda want to put Zoro and Killer. Because even if Beppo were to get a Sulong form in a regular state where he can use it continuously, if Zoro and Killer progress to a level where they're commander level, I mean, unless the Sulong is that big, insane buff, I don't think Beppo's gonna reach that level. But it's possible. It's definitely possible. I mean,
yeah.
The Sulong is a very insane transformation. I mean, look at Carrot. She went from pretty much being useless to
destroying ships.
Ships. So many people kind of didn't think it was very impressive because she didn't fight.
Yeah, she didn't fight anybody.
She didn't fight Daifuku. But again, it was more strategic because she used Daifuku against himself, because he was slicing the ships on her behalf.
And also, we have to point out that Carrot, she has not mastered. She's not good at this, so she can't get into like a full-fledged fight against Daifuku. She has to maximize this form as much as possible, and I think she did a great job at that.
Of course she did. She used him against himself. She went from ship to ship and have him attack each ship that she's on.
Yep.
And just dip.
She did a fantastic job.
But I would like to see some defined measurements of how much of a buff the Sulong form actually is. I would love to see that.
Honestly, I doubt we get that.
Maybe for Nekomusha and Arashi, but for the rest of them,
because the thing is, even if they toss Jack around a little bit, I don't think it would be enough anyway. So it's like,
I mean, it's a combined effort. I mean, it's 3 Musketeers and 2 Guardian. It's like these people are relative to Pedro. I'd assume that Sicilian is relative to Pedro. in terms of strength. Because he's the lead musketeer, while Pedro's the lead guardian.
Sicilian and those guys, they're pretty much around Pedro's level.
Yeah,
which he's around like Tamago, so he probably is.
Yeah, I mean Tamago will be the only person who can compare Pedro's strength too.
Yeah,
the upper hand there.
And Tamago is probably around a bit weaker than Daifuku and Oven.
I don't even know what Tamago is, to be quite honest. I mean,
I would say like around Daifuku and Oven, but a bit weaker.
Yeah, I'd say around Daifuku level. I mean, he was a knight, if I believe, in Big Mom's army. So
yeah, so I'd say around a flying 6. If we had to like try to compare where Sicily, yeah.
Especially the fact that he keeps evolving to different forms.
It's a weird thing.
Yeah, so who knows? But good point pointing at the fact that Beppo and Carrot are the only two minks that are exclusively not given it so long yet. So we should expect a bit more from them, aside from Nekomusha and Inarashi.
Yep.
So Oda are definitely going to show their so long form in a unique way. So Big Mom is watching up what's going on up there. Oda once again kind of reinforces the fact that she's not the main villain. Like, she's not the one being targeted the same way she was in Oki Island. So
yes,
she's taking the back seat here. So
did you see Roger's tweet about Doflamingo and Big Mom?
what did he say? Roger Base have been going weird from recently.
He said Doflamingo is more of a threat than Big Mom.
Oh God, I mean, doesn't this chapter disprove that? I mean, Oda literally have external monologues saying that she's basically a Kaido herself.
So I think people are looking at it. I think people are saying, I guess from as a fan, where it's like you're looking at it and Big Mom doesn't seem like a threat, which he said Doflamingo was more threatening, I guess. I'm trying like when I read it, because I thought you saw it, I was trying to understand. I think back to my time with Dofi, because you know how I feel about Doflamingo. But I think it comes down to preference a little bit, and you know, and I think we're more so talking about tension, and I don't know if it's just a Big Mom thing or if it's just a One Piece thing at this point, but I don't know. I think Big Mom and her being the way she is fucking terrifying, because Big Mom can go from just this goof that, you know, she gets a motorcycle on her head, but there's still an Albath spear that could come at any time.
Okay, let me say this. Oda hasn't consistently portrayed Big Mom in the same way you would consistently portray Kaido or someone like Zoro, where they're completely serious and he's a threat every single time.
Characters.
But Oda has always reinforced that Big Mom is indeed strong. Again, he goes out of his way this chapter to tell you again that Big Mom and Kaido are relatively equals.
Yeah, I think that everybody's talking about portrayal, and it's like, oh, with Big Mom, it's always going to be something where Big Mom gets something terrible done to her. And for me, I understand why people are saying that, but I'm kind of on the side of like, all the Yonko have moments where it's like they look like fools.
Yes, and they're gonna have even more.
And I think, and Big Mom specifically, we know the most about her out of all the Yonko.
Yes.
Like every single one of y'all, we know the most about Big Mom. So it's like, yes, it seems like, you know, she's not a threat, but we know Brooke's she has a weakness to Brooke's devil fruit, you know, and then as a character, she's very childlike, and so Oda uses that and puts her in situations where it's like, all right, you know, I can kind of get away with that childlike personality where she's chasing them for like a simple thing like Zeus instead of just like calling out for Zeus. You know, it's like Oda created this character and this archetype on purpose so that he could use it in situations like this. Because if Big Mom was just like Kaido in regards to personality, there's no way you could justify some of the shit that's happening in regards to the Straw Hats running around like mice with these two monsters being there. You know, so it's like, so I find it weird sometimes when people like, they talk about Big Mom saying Big Mom is trash, right? But then when you say, well, Big Mom should do this, it's like, well, do you want the Straw Hats to die? And I'm like, wait, so you want Big Mom to be competent, but you don't want the Straw Hats to die. So it's like we have to kind of pick one.
I think a lot of people haven't really come to the realization that the reason why Oda portrays certain characters to be incompetent is actually as a prerequisite to make the story continue, because you can't justify why, if they were competent, the Straw Hats or any oppositional force would be even to compete against them.
Yeah, and she's just like one of those weird, quirky characters that Oda likes, messing with. And it's kind of like with Kaido and Big Mom, it's kind of like Zoro and Sanji, where you can get away with putting Sanji in more situations than you can with Zoro, because again, they're completely different characters with different portrayals. But one thing is like they're both strong, and in a situation they're both reliable. So yeah, I just wanted to see how you felt about see if you saw that, because I saw a lot of people I've been seeing that more throughout the community in regards to Big Mom and just how, because every time something happens in a chapter to Big Mom, it starts again, where it was like what chapter was it? I forgot the chapter. Something happened, but then it was like a whole conversation about Big Mom being trash, whatever. And because the motorcycle hit Big Mom, it's come up again.
I mean, it will always be there, because as you said before, Big Mom is more flexible in terms of how Oda can actually use her in comparison to the Yonkos. Yeah. But at the same time, the rest of the Yonkos are premature, and we haven't really seen their goofy side. If Oda would go that route with them as well, I predict that we're going to have many more case scenarios where Yonko is going to look incompetent, because Oda can't justify why people they're competing with compete with them equally. So Big Mom isn't an anomaly. She's just a way more frequently used one because of how goofy she actually is, especially when you consider her childhood.
I got a video coming out at some point about that, because I think Big Mom, again, no scars, both arms, didn't lose to Magellan,
Nope.
All this, didn't die. It's Big Mom, man. I understand that people like, she's goofy. She's not one of the, as far as aesthetic, not one of the better looking Yonko. Yeah. But that woman is scary.
But the thing when I keep pointing to many people is that you can see that Oda goes out of his way to reinforce that she is indeed strong and competent. He goes out of his way to know that she two-shot queen. And then to have the audience know that she two-shot queen while being all-in. If she was Big Mom, it probably been a one-shot.
Yeah.
Which just opposed to Kaido one-shot in Luffy is pretty much really the same thing. She didn't even use her Death Fruit or anything like that to get it done. So Oda always remind you that she is indeed strong. And again, this chapter no different. She's been literally compared to Kaido as his equal. What more do you want?
I think Big Mom, I guess for me, is always a bit more scary than the other Yonko, because I just feel like she can't be reasoned with.
Unpredictable as well.
Like she's like, it's like even with this alliance with her and Kaido, I keep waiting for like that moment where Big Mom is like, wait, Kaido, you thought I was really teaming up?
Really gonna align with you? Yeah. Yeah, I mean, the only person that you can actually summarize that Big Mom have some from an inferiority complex too is probably Whitebeard, where she said that even with the Elbert army, she might be able to defeat Whitebeard. Might. It's not a certainty like she would say with Shanks or Kaido or Blackbeard.
And I even think with that, it's like Whitebeard has a level of seniority over all the other.
Okay, so it might be reputation that she perceived that on then.
Exactly. Where I mean, Whitebeard's crew does have,
strong.
It's very strong, right? And I think they have the most impressive feat as a crew, where they went up against Roger's, crew, and they held their own.
Even that is retarded, man. I mean, I don't even want to start with that.
It's insane, but they held their own. But yeah, I think it's like Whitebeard is just one of those. He's just a goat, man. So for her, it's like, again, the perception of Whitebeard at the time was that he was still the strongest man in the world. And I wonder how the other Yonko, how they would react, how Big Mom would react if they knew Whitebeard was on, like,
yeah, it was on the medication
and stuff
for his life. And I think Whitebeard was even conscious of that too, because Oda said that he sent nurses away because he didn't want to have any sympathy. So even he noticed that they probably would have thought of him very differently if they seen him on that, because the perception that they have of him is that he's this Titan that no one can bring down but Roger, and and they
that wasn't what he was anymore.
Yeah, and that's what they base in that's what they base in the analysis of him off of, that reputation, not necessarily his current state.
Yeah, but you kind of, that's why you as a pirate is great to be notorious, because then you can kind of live off your name. You know?
Of course, one of the biggest thing in life is reputation. I mean, there's certain people that are feared not because they can actually do the thing that people assume that they can do. It's just a reputation of them that people are so afraid of.
Right. You think they can do that thing, and sometimes people are marketable because of that thing, because of their reputation.
Yep. I mean, most of the guys that you see in inner cities that are actually gang leaders, if you were to remove reputation of them killing people, and if you see them run away in terms of their physical strength, you probably wouldn't fear them. Yeah,
because normally I feel like in every situation, the story that you hear is a bit larger than what.
It's hyperbole. Yeah, it is a bit hyperbole.
Yeah, it's hyperbolic for sure. So like, it's so for Whitebeard, I'm sure once they pass the stories down, it's like, yo, Whitebeard, one time he destroyed the world and put it back together. You know, it's like when you hear about a guy that can create earthquakes, it's just. That's something that you really don't want to go against.
Because destroy the world in one attack. I don't think it's one attack. It's more of a continuous shaking Earth's core that could actually cause.
Exactly. Like that's the thing where it's like this man can destroy the world. Even that is just okay, cool. We've never seen him do it, but we're assuming based on the power he has, he should be able to do something like that.
But even the same argument for Akainu. I mean, if he erupts the places of the world continuously, I mean, he could probably do the goddamn thing too.
Yeah, right. But I think with Big Mom, it's just it's like, imagine, right? Say Luffy's a Yonko, right? Mm-hmm. Imagine if people saw how many times Luffy's been caught.
They will lose so much respect.
Imagine how many times Luffy's just been in a situation like he's done.
Yep.
Right? Like I was thinking today, I was thinking back to Crocodile. I was thinking back to Smoker. I was thinking back to even Dofi. Remember when Dofi trapped them?
You don't even have to go back that far. I mean, Katakuri is still available.
Bro, Katakuri, he didn't have to stab himself. Katakuri. Right? It's like Kaido. And the thing is, all these pirates, I think if we followed all these people day to day, there are going to be moments where we're like, damn.
That happened to you?
Wow, I didn't expect like you would, like these things happen. Like Zoro. No, oh my God.
Exactly.
This guy is...
They get a cool bit of bone for Zoro.
But even deeper than that, like, damn, this guy, he has the aura of somebody that could be a captain. Zoro can't even find his way.
Either way, yeah. I mean,
right?
I was rereading the One Piece yellow the database that came out of the Indian's lobby. I mean, it says that Zoro doesn't even. It said that after Zoro finished a battle, he just sleeps. I mean, Zoro will be an awful captain. He wouldn't be.
Zoro sleeps. I was reading the SBS. He sleeps from 4 to 7 or 5 to 8, so he sleeps 3 hours.
I mean, shit, this dude sleeps.
He sleeps 3 hours, and that's why he takes so many naps throughout the day, because he's sleeping just 3 hours.
So short.
You know what I'm saying? So it's just like our view of these people. Like, think back to when we didn't know anything about Big Mom, when we first got introduced to her with Bobbin and Pudding and all this stuff, and he was like, "Yo."
Yeah,
who is this monster? And even when we heard, like with Fishman Island, when she threatened, where everybody was spooked, it was like, yo, we gotta give her a candy, so it's like now we know a lot more, so yeah, the perception is gonna change, but I think we have to understand that these are still the same people, these are still the same monsters. It's just that every character is flawed, and every character can't be the same exact way. That would be boring.
I don't understand it though. Even if you do believe that, I mean, I would have given you counter evidence to basically portray Big Mom as equal to Kaido multiple times. What more do you want?
Yeah.
He got off his way to make you know that she's insanely powerful.
Yeah.
she's not to be joked with.
I just think it's just
Constantly does
like I think people are tired of the moments where, okay, I expect Big Mom to do something. Oh, she didn't do something again. And it's like, bro,
if she did, the story would have ended, bro.
Yeah.
Come on. If she did, the story would have ended.
And even people bring up the Jinbei thing. I'm like, well, that's still open.
It's still open. I mean,
that's still open.
She's weakened Jinbei Connor with water. I mean,
I'm talking about the fact that Jinbei came back and people are saying, well, everybody escaped, from her territory.
The jury's still out on that one. That one is completely open.
Yeah,
completely
still open. You gotta wait.
That is not closed at all for me, and for a lot of people as well.
Yeah,
I think Jinbei Crew is completely dead. To be quite honest,
I think
and that wasn't a party. That was a funeral that he had before he came.
Exactly.
But let's go forward and see what happens. So the queen and king are somewhat. This is very weird because I don't know if I should praise them for staying guard in Momonosuke, or I should lash them for saying, well, they didn't prioritize Kaido the captain the same way Katakuri prioritized Big Mom when Luffy busted the cake, where the first thing they did was guard Big Mom. They didn't care about the Mother Karma. But you didn't care about the Karma for anything like it was Big Mom. But
I think it shows
it's very weird. It's very weird. It's still a valuable commodity that they need to eliminate, but they can't do anything as Kaido haven't give the order yet.
Is this a situation in which, do you remember the Phantom Troop when Chrollo got kidnapped?
Yes, of course. I remember vividly, man.
You had half the troop who said, well, Finks mainly, who said, I don't give a damn. Yeah. Let's go with Pakunoda and kill them right now.
I'll kill everyone. Yeah.
And you had other people where they were like, no, I don't want Chrollo to die. But Chrollo always said, it's not about me, right? The spider can still live without his head. It's like, with Kaido's crew, it's weird because it seems like they're kind of echoing both, where it's like, we don't need the head, like we don't prioritize the head, but we don't move without the head. It's like a weird thing.
Simultaneously doing both.
Right.
Let me present something to you that's very weird. Do you think Kaido's crew, in terms of the meritocracy in the crew, also consider Kaido as well, where the Flying Six are high in a position of being a calamity, but the calamities are also high in a position to be the captain?
Be the captain?
Do you think that actually happens within the crew, where King and Queen are like, Kaido, if he dies, do you think
it wouldn't be surprising
extend to that much?
It wouldn't be surprising, but we just have to learn more about King's personality.
Yeah, and to go back to your knowledge about Hunter x Hunter, it was Franklin who said that he was he asked them what would be the worst case. He
asked who's the dude with the remote? I forget his name. Shalnark, and then Shalnark gave an answer, and he was like, no. Franklin,
Working out will be us dying because the head doesn't mean anything. The spider still needs legs. Yeah, but again, I would liken this to somewhat of Miriam and Poof, Miriam and Pito and Komugi, where it's valuable that Pito healed Komugi because Miriam was in the midst of trying to defeat her in the game, and he cares about her. Kaido cares about killing Momonosuke, and your enemies on the ground. So what do you prioritize? You prioritize safeguarding something that the boss cares about, or helping the boss himself?
Or does he want to kill him? Or does he want to raise him?
Well, given the fact that Momonosuke kind of pretty much threw away the possibility of Kaido to save him, because Kaido did give him the option to spear him if he lied about his name, and Momonosuke pretty much said, fuck that, I am Momonosuke. So I'm assuming that Kaido's action, to keep consistent and to keep the fact that he's actually serious about his words, he would have killed him. I think that was where it was gonna go.
It could be a situation like Orochi, where Orochi was forced to kill Konosuke. Well, he was forced to kind of punish her. That's why it kind of opened the door for Kirishiro, where it's kind of like a pride thing.
It could be like that, yeah.
Where even though he doesn't want to kill Momonosuke, it's like, all right, I said I would. So
I think the only way that would actually be chose if Momonosuke were to transform into a dragon, which would make him somewhat invaluable to Kaido. Kaido would be like, okay, you're one of us now, so I could train you and make you what Yamato doesn't want to be, which is the true heir. If that would have happened, then I would completely co-sign it. But for so far, what I gathered, he would have killed him if the Scabbard is.
It's interesting because Kaido hesitated after Momonosuke said his name.
He did, which is kind of weird as well. Well, his intentions aren't really clear if you really want to kill him or not.
Yeah.
I mean, he gave Ashuradoji 20 years to roam free, so...
But the fact that he gave him the option to not be killed means that he didn't want to kill him.
He didn't, yeah, for sure. Yeah, he's not set firm.
Yeah. It's crazy.
He might have speared him.
Odin's son looks like Kaido. Kaido's daughter wants to be Odin.
It's very weird. So this is again this is a right hand man portrayal from here on, because Queen and King are present, both characters in a position to do something, but Oda specifically have King pretty much do everything. So Shinobu came first, which I think is very stupid, because she didn't even try to use a deflection or try to use a distraction, a smoke bomb, anything. She just literally tried to climb up the Momonosuke and just take him off the chain. There are certain times your certain actions are very insulting to your opponents. Where
King was.
How stupid do you think King and Queen are to let you actually pull that off?
I think this is continuing the narrative of Shinobu.
She being awful.
Her being just bad now.
Which she wasn't in the past. I might add that she was very competent, but something happened, which something happened, man. Either she got fat, or I have no idea.
I'm assuming her weight has something to do with it.
Weight has something to do with it. I'm assuming that too. But King seemed to have a bit of observation hierarchy than Queen, which isn't really surprising. I mean, again, he is a right hand. I mean, category pretty much have all type better than the rest of the commanders.
It's not Steve-O's, but you know. It's not that's it, Steve-O.
It's not
it's not I just saw Steve-O in the fucking computer. It's not Katakuri's, but it's good.
No, he's not feature side. I don't think it was ever a chance with half feature side at all. I don't think King would ever had it at all. I mean, that would be insane.
Yeah, it would.
He had feature side plus great physical strength. That would be crazy. Yeah. So he pretty much punished Shinobu, which again, I hate these type of punishment because they're not conclusive. It's like you fling her down. Why not burn her to death?
I mean, he threw her against the building, like
the building. I mean, that was really.
He grabbed her like a volleyball, bro.
Yeah, just throw her across the building. And I want to point something out too here, which is very, very important. Luffy's reaction to these scenarios is something that's telling. Is Luffy coming to the realization that this raid might actually end in major damage for his ally?
He went from overconfidence
to he's very concerned. Yeah, he's more concerned than usual.
Yeah, those reactions were weird.
It was weird because he was concerned for Sanji and Shinobu.
Yeah. Like, it didn't work. Is she okay?
Yeah. So it's something that we're going to pay attention to going forward. In order to try to use Luffy's rage about seeing his crewmates being pretty much tossed aside like pets.
It's crazy, like you said, with the right hand portrayal.
Yeah, it is right hand portrayal.
Like, Oda could have had King do something with Shinobu and have Queen do something with Sanji, right? Easily. To kind of foreshadow that fight. He let King do everything. Just like when Big Mom was going up the waterfall. Like, King was like, we don't have to wait for them. We can go take care of it. Where it seems like King is all about initiative, man.
It is. I mean, King's the guy who saw problem before problem become problems.
Yeah.
I mean, King pretty much saw the Big Mom problem. He was the one who made the Flying Six came because he heard about Kaido dispute about
Yamato.
Trying to find Yamato. So he's very proactive. He takes initiative very quickly, which is a good thing.
The theme of the right hands.
Yeah, they do things without even being asked, and they do things that are very effective too. Because compare Katakuri's action versus Capone's Big Father compared to Perospero.
Does Oda hate second commanders?
There have been a portrayal where second commanders has been pretty much more comedic and also more reserved and not given the best light in terms of how they're portrayed. Of course, Queen Smoothie Made the argument for even Ace.
That's what I was about to say.
Yeah, they haven't really been given the best. They fall in a very weird spot where they're supposed to be stronger than the third commander, but they're less than the first. But because Oda is the first typically monopolize everything.
Yeah.
They don't really get that money time to shine. But Queen has been doing good. I mean, he created with his own little plan to stop Big Mom, and he was very intuitive because he viewed Big Mom as a board just going to run around, and he created his plan based off of that. So that's pretty good.
Yeah, but it seems like he was like,
yeah, he was pretty useless here. He was pretty useless. And again, I don't know if it's his uselessness that's on play here or just Oda's constant need to put the right hand above and beyond. I was about to mention Perospero on Katakuri's interaction with Capone, where Perospero blocked the cannons, but Katakuri did something different. Without even seeing it, he stopped mulching the cannons, which just completely exploded everything. Like,
where that's the thing, where it's like,
instantly.
Because of we can't really judge just how quickly things are happening. You're assuming it's happening really quickly.
Yeah, really fast.
It's not that Queen didn't do anything. It's that King just reacted so swiftly that Queen didn't have a chance to do anything. You know, where it's like, it's not to Queen's detriment, but more is to King's credit.
I would say 50-50, because again, the right hands has been put in better position than the second commanders numerous times. So it's not surprising that we're getting the same pilot here.
That continues to the Straw Hat crew as well.
Yeah, even the Straw Hat crew. I mean, Zoro and Sanji, I mean, no one really did debate that Oda has been giving them fair representation. I mean, even in this very scenario right here where Sanji is just being seen, while Zoro and Luffy, Kid, and also Killer has pretty much taken on a reputation of their own, where they are the ones that Queen pretty much put a bounty on their head by saying that if you defeat them, you can become a new Toporopo.
Yeah. So
their heads are worth way more than regular people here. Which many people don't really know that. Which I kind of always try to point to many people that King, that Kid, Killer, Zoro, and Luffy are different in how they're viewed by the gifters and the rest of the opponents, because beating them means that you can become a Toboropo, which give them a different portrayal to the rest of the group.
Yeah.
And that's good for Killer, because he never had any type of portrayal like that ever before. So that's good for him that Oda is trying to give him.
Trying to give him a little bit.
Yeah, give him a little bit of shine. So yeah, I mean, that's been done already. I mean, Oda said it, president already, but Sanji with the raid suit and him being this utilitarian, I'm gonna see much more moments where, in retrospect, you can make the argument that he contribute more than Zoro in terms of what he have actually accomplished.
I think based on, I'ma say what's kind of sensationalized is you doing badass shit and fighting and all that stuff.
Yes.
It's like Sanji does the little things
that matters,
that really matter. And I think saving Momonosuke here was so important, and it's fitting that Sanji did it. And somebody commented, and I pointed it out, they talked about how everything paused in regards to them going to Wano and trying to basically take back their city, because Luffy went to Whole Cake Island for Sanji. And remember, he was like, oh, Sanji's worth 1,000 men.
Right? I saw a review. I saw that comment. That was good. Right?
It was great. Whereas like everything kind of came full circle. So it's so fitting that he's the one to do it.
Yeah, it is. But what I would prefer here, though, in terms of if I would try to maximize this scenario to make Sanji look even better, was if Momonosuke was in immediate danger. Because even though he's been guarded by King and Queen, he's not going to be killed by them.
Right.
But if Sanji have done this while Kaido was there, Jesus Christ, that would that feat would have been insane. That would have been insane. That would have been insane.
If he kind of blocked Kaido,
that would have been. And again, given that the fact that Nekomushi and Kiku caused that much damage, I mean, it's not far fetched anymore.
Yeah.
I mean, fuck. But back to your point about sensationalism, even characters that are badass fall victim to them doing things that are not sensationally termed as badass. Because again, we cloned Zoro about getting knocked out by Yeti better so many times. But in that moment, he was the last person to get knocked out, and he cut a spiky cliff that could have killed him before getting knocked out. But because you're not as badass as what he did to Monet, people don't talk about it that much.
Yeah, don't talk about it. Yeah.
So even him fall victim to the fact that certain badass woman that he has is kind of overlooked.
Yeah.
In favor of others. So yeah, it's gonna be like that. I mean, it takes people that are good at introspecting things to notice that.
Yeah.
Yes, Sanji doesn't get these insane moments, but without these contributions, so many things go wrong.
Yeah.
Because this right now isolate King and Queen and also forces them to go in the battle, while before they didn't really have much to do. So no, you're pretty much trying to play catch up.
Yeah. Where like
That
you were responsible. And remember they were talking about Jack and how he's constantly failing. Imagine Jack going back was like, so two of you were here.
We're here and this
and you let him escape. He was chained up.
He was chained up, bro. You probably start calling King the drag down and Queen the stooge. Yeah, but again, it goes back to the main concept that incompetence can happen at any point depending on how the story wants to go. Because
circumstances are important.
Yeah, King and Queen can't really do King and Queen shit if the story is to be progressed. I mean, if they were to both attack Sanji at the same time, that'd be insane.
Yeah.
But Oda could have had that be done. They could have both went after Shinobu and Sanji and wreck everything.
Why does King seem like a robot sometimes? He's like, give the boy back. He must be eliminated.
Pretty weird. And again, I'm glad that the Viz actually cleared this up because the first initial dialogue was ridiculously bad.
Yeah, it was.
Sanji sounds so self-defeating. Like, you're gonna kill me, bro.
Yeah.
That was actually the dialogue that Sanji said. Like, you're gonna cause a hole in my stomach. And the Viz kind of cleared up that he's saying that this attack could do that, but he's not saying he's gonna actually get his whole torn apart.
Yeah.
And again, it kind of confirms that Sanji's invisibility, as we all knew, isn't really him hiding his presence, but more so a visual thing, which the conversation comes up again. Can observation haki detect Sanji?
It seems like it can.
No. Again, it's a weird
circumstance.
Yeah, because again,
does he need to be detected?
Yeah, because Queen and King didn't know it was there until he actually interacted with Momonosuke. But after they figured out he was there, they pretty much be able to deal with him much better. So it seemed like it's. I mean,
it says it right there. It says the invisibility is just a visual thing, you know.
Yeah, but then yes, I agree. But why didn't they detect him? Is their observation haki that bad or?
Yeah, that's weird.
And again, it goes back to Kaido as well, because Sanji said to Momonosuke that his speech was awesome. So it was in hearing distance of that speech. So it was probably in the vicinity, and no one knew it was there. So is it a king and queen thing, or just an everyone thing?
I think it may be like, a situation which you have to know who you're fighting first to kind of adjust to it.
That's what I was about to say right now, where it seemed like the initial invisibility is much harder to deal with than when you start to fight him.
Right. So once you know he can turn invisible,
yes, you're preparing. Yes.
Yeah.
Thank you. That's the exact thing I'm thinking in my mind. Like, once you figure that he can turn invisible, you're more adept and adapt to that.
Yeah, exactly. Kind of like if Zoro fought Shiryu. I'm sure Shiryu is going to get some easy hits in early.
Of course, in first.
But after then, once he starts to focus in a bit more, I'm sure he starts to be able to detect where Shiryu is. You know, it gets scary if Oda really goes a route of making Shiryu broken. If he starts making Shiryu slashes or make his sword invisible, like Saber from Fate Zero and Fate Stay Night, where it's like when you're fighting Saber, she has a sword, but you can't see it, so you have no idea the length. It's really hard to fight something you can't see.
It really is.
So wait.
True got pretty much a lot of hype this chapter because I'm seeing invisibility being so effective. Many people start to understand why we say that Blackbeard pirates are so utilitarian. Blackbeard can pretty much enter anywhere.
Blackbeard can invade anywhere. He can invade anywhere.
Anywhere. He has Lafitte.
He has Lafitte. He has Devon, Shiryu. He has, I mean...
He has a lot of people to do a lot of shit.
He even has the biggest distraction in San Juan.
Yes. Which is pretty much a titan.
You know what I mean? This dude is equipped.
Yeah. This is where the nuance comes into Sanji, where I think it's fair to point out that Sanji has pretty much been the most clutch straw hat over the course of the series.
Absolutely.
But there's also been a reputation that you really fear when it comes out of Sanji being caught in these scenarios, where characters need hype moments to be perceived as stronger than they're supposed to be, and then Sanji's there, and you start to worry if Oda would really do it again. Is this another Doflamingo? I mean,
even that's weird because like we talk about it. We talk about it all the time with Dofi. If you don't know what he can do, you know, like
yeah, he's gonna catch you in the park and all that stuff, of course.
Like Jozu, right? Dofi used him as a bird perch.
Yeah,
pretty much. Just like he was just on him. You know what I mean? Which is weird. Where it's like Jozu, like, can you really afford to just stand there for this long while he's giving a small speech? You know,
yeah,
it's weird. But I don't think it's going to be quite like the Doflamingo thing because he has the raid suit and he's going to effectively take little to no damage. Whereas with Dofi, it seemed like he was about to die.
Yes, he was definitely in a sticky situation of Law didn't come around and save him. Because we haven't seen the extent of the heat. What is it called again?
Overheat.
Overheat that pretty much split on the building.
They went a green bit, and that shit split the building in Dressrosa.
But the argument still remains the same because if you scale Sanji up by saying he has a raid suit now, King and Doflamingo aren't really equal. I mean, a lot of people say King is by far stronger. Even in his pterodactyl form, where he's flying down with Sanji. So it's a stronger attack, stronger person. It pretty much balances itself out. And again, Sanji's caught in a very bad position.
It balances itself out, but the difference with like Dofi's is almost as if like for King, this is a strong attack. But for Dofi, it's almost like his is like a 2-hit KO.
Yeah.
Where his is like he has more unique powers where he basically restricts you and then that's it for you. Where for King, he's not gonna pierce a hole through Sanji.
No, that's not gonna happen. He will die if that actually happens.
So,
but again, Brago, to be fair, before Parasite, Doflamingo did cut Sanji with the colorful strings.
Yeah,
it's like he still was on top before he even used the Parasite.
Yeah.
Which is like, I know the Parasite is an argument I can use to say, well, everyone fought for the Parasite.
Yeah.
Beside Fuji, but Doflamingo pretty have no problem cutting him with the colorful strings. I mean, if he didn't use the Parasite, he could probably still have ended in the same scenario.
Yeah.
Again, Sanji, Oda need to break this chain, and I hope this is the start of a new beginning for Sanji, where when he fights top tiers, we don't have to worry if he's in danger. And I try to juxtapose this with Zoro. Dude, Zoro fought for Zoro twice. Oda could have had him in Fodder Ice twice.
Yeah.
But he ended off both scenarios looking pretty good.
Yeah.
Looking pretty good. So for many people were saying that maybe we're over-exaggerating Sanji. No, I mean, when you look at the fact that Oda could have done the same to the Zoro and he chose not to, you really kind of see the selective portrayal that Sanji gets in comparison to everybody else.
Yeah, I mean, especially when you compare it to Zoro, it's just not. Zoro just gets better treatment. Zoro just gets put in a position where it's like, all right, I don't want to have Zoro again. They're different characters, and Oda treats them differently. So it's, Sanji definitely gets the short end of the stick normally, but he seems to have these more chivalrous, Mr. Prince moments where he shows up and he saves the day. and he kind of keeps the journey going because he's doing something really important, and it suits him. It fits. He's the knight.
Does suits him.
Where Zoro's kind of more the enforcer. He's the fighter. Sanji comes in. He's the he does all the little things, man. You gotta appreciate
Sanji. I view Sanji as a utilitarian, where he's not necessarily utility, but he does certain actions and complete certain tasks that without those tasks being complete, certain events can't proceed to happen. Like main fights can't happen. The story can't progress in a way that's favorable to the main protagonist, because again, Momonosuke being chained up, that pretty much put Luffy in a bind where you had to save him if Sanji wasn't there. So,
right.
But again, as you said before, the issue with these moments is that these moments aren't the one that makes the headlines, Brago.
Right.
Because if next chapter, let me just give an example. If Zoro has so much clash with King, I'm telling you, that's a bigger moment in most people's mind than what Sanji did here.
You think so?
I 100% think so. If Zoro and King clash, the community's reaction will be much hyper than what Sanji just did, without a doubt. Because the perception will be that,
you're right.
The perception will be that this is Oda making them a complete matchup. While with Sanji, yeah, he did save Momonosuke, but he got wrecked. That's what more people would say. Like, it's not this. Oh, God. It's like.
Well,
Sanji
to be fair, also, if Zoro clashed with King, it would, because that's the popular prediction, it would almost confirm that we're heading to the latter parts of the arc and the final fights have begun.
Yeah. I get that, but I get that perception, because again, you have to assume that either King completely decimates Zoro beats him, then the story wouldn't have a conclusive end right there. But there have been most scenarios where Zoro has clash with people that he's gonna fight in the last, but he doesn't fight them immediately. Like for instance, Kaku.
But the thing is, he got fodderized.
Yeah, he got fodderized by Kaku.
Yeah.
Before he actually fought Kaku again. So it's possible for him to clash with King, then fight him later on, depending if something breaks up the fight.
Right. But it'll be a dope moment because it feels like that has to be his fight, So it's like, I think, and again with the feeling of the arc within Water 7 when they clashed, you kind of felt like it was too early.
Yeah, it was way too early.
Like they just encountered them. It's like, all right, they're not about to lose right now. At this moment, like if Zoro and King clashed, I don't know.
Okay, let me say this. I don't think there can be any conclusive outcome to any fights this soon, because then it will remove certain characters that Oda needs to make the story flow. Like, I see King accomplishing way more before he goes down, and I see Zoro accomplishing way more before he gets a major injury.
Right.
Because there's so many more stuff to actually do. But at the same time...
Well, personally, I think King has to go down before Kaido.
Yes, of course. That's the formula.
Yeah.
Luffy's fight pretty much ends at the end. The other fights.
And especially if you think Zoro will assist in that Kaido fight.
Kaido fight. It is very weird. The Calamity is getting involved before characters like Who's Sasaki, Black Maria.
Can you tell me where Who's Who is? Didn't Alti and Who's Who go towards the performance stage at the same time?
Yes, they were informed that they were that Yamato was at the performance stage. But the same thing can be said for Page One. He was close to them and he hasn't even arrived yet. So I'll say this: time and distance is relative in Wano in general, even more so right now, where Oda can have anyone come out of anywhere anytime, because they're basically in the same area but not that far apart. Because if you notice, the building that King pretty much launched Sanji into was what Zoro cut like 5 chapters ago. And Luffy is fairly close to that building, which he was when he punched a dude who weighs the Oshiruko. So Zoro shouldn't be that far away, and that's a kid.
Right.
So anyone can just come at any time because they're just so close, but yet not really close type of way. It's very weird. It is very weird because Uzu should have arrived a long time ago. Because Yamato has been fighting Ulti, who got the same call from Uzu's at the same time, and he hasn't even arrived yet. So it is. It is weird, Brago. It is weird. But considering the fact that that Big Mom took days to reach Udon and Otoko run to the district in minutes. Shit. I mean, it is what it is, man. Oda is not caring about time and distance. No. At any moment, Uzus can pop up and say, "Here I am," and then page one gets, "Here I am too." But going into Luffy's reaction. Luffy, I don't think I remember seeing Luffy this careful, because even when he wasn't watching the big screen with Sanji and Zoro fighting X-Drake and Denjiro, he didn't really react this way, even though there were circumstances where they looked pretty bad, because Zoro was being ambushed by Wanshu, and Sanji was smacked by Drake. Luffy didn't look this way or felt this way, so is Oda just trying to emphasize that these scenarios are very dangerous by Luffy's reaction, that these are worrisome. We're dealing with people that can actually kill us. But going forward, oh god, Yamato. Oh god, I mean, how to explain this girl? I have no idea. So
weirdo.
She thinks oh god.
No, all right. But go ahead. Let me hear what you feel about this.
I don't even know what to even feel about it. So he quite fear. I mean, at this point, I wouldn't be surprised if she take Momo and start to breastfeed him. That wouldn't surprise me. I don't even know what the hell is going on.
That's her son. That's his son. Whatever.
That is completely mental illness.
That's funny, man.
What is going on here?
Yamato said, "It's my son, so it's only right."
Like, will she completely have this Oden-esque perception of everything even after the raid? Will she still talk like she's Oden?
Well,
like,
she is.
Oden,
she says she's Oden, bro.
This shit is fucking ridiculous, man. I don't even know what Oda is going with this character, to be honest, man. Because what she's saying is, it's only natural for me to do it because he's my son after all. But I wonder, she hasn't dispatched Ulti yet, so she's gonna bring Ulti as a trail to Momonosuke. So I'm assuming the next chapter, Oda gave that fight somewhat of a conclusive end where Ulti is pushed back or something, because she can't bring Ulti to Momonosuke because Shinobu can't do shit. So
right.
So
unless she leaves her to Shinobu, Momonosuke to Shinobu. Either
she dealt with Ulti very quickly, or she doesn't go where Luffy said he wants her to do. I have no idea what's gonna happen. I you know what's the weird thing? It's like I want Kid to be involved so bad, but because King doesn't have the connection to Oden like that, I just can't see him like stepping in and defending the samurais like the same way I can see Zoro stepping in.
Right.
I would love to see Kid have at least some preliminary fights before he actually goes up to Kaido. Because he doesn't care about the samurais that much. He's like, would he help Yamato?
Nah.
He doesn't even know her. He doesn't even. Oh God, I would love to see Killer versus about Ultier, because I think they definitely need some fight before they go against Kaido.
That'd be dope. Maybe, man. Yeah. I mean, they're fighting Fodder right now, but we'll see. Where's Apu, by the way?
Fighting them because the samurai pretty much reached where they are, and they're finished with the gifter, so they should be free now.
Where's Apu, by the way?
That's a question that the world needs to know, Brago. But again, Apu is in the same void that Black Maria is in. Yeah, you know, she's supposed to be next to Kaido, but all of a sudden she's nowhere to be found.
CP0,
man. CP0. So get used to character just being completely gone from the story.
Yeah, that's just.
I mean, look at Sanji. He was gone for fucking chapters.
Yeah.
Then he just shows up. But I guess in his case, it's more believable because he has an invisibility power. So
Yeah.
you can pretty much understand that. But in Uzu's case, I mean, what's taking him so long? Is he that slow, or is he just
taking his time?
I have no idea. But he wants Yamato very bad because he still believes that they can actually fight the calamities, even though I think that process is pretty much done. I mean, it can't happen. It's pretty much done.
Yeah.
Because who is going to have that nomination system work now, where king and queen are pretty much occupied with so many different things right now? And also, king and also queen might reconsider killing the Toblerone that he wants to kill, because it would be pretty useful to keep that Toblerone alive, because they're being invaded right now.
Everything's going on, yeah.
Yeah,
what I'm thinking,
that plan even goes along either.
What I'm thinking is this: in the midst of all this chaos, what if Queen and like who's who gets separated, and then who's who just threatens or challenges Queen? So now we have like infighting in the midst of this war.
That will be great, but then again, it goes against what I want, because I want Zoro and Sanji to beat calamities, to prove that they are commander level.
Yeah.
And if Queen is injured prior to fighting Sanji, if he does fight Sanji, then God, it's the same thing for Sanji again. He just like, I want the calamities to be fresh when they fight. I don't want no ambiguity around their strength, or we can make the argument that, well, he was injured here, he was injured there.
Well,
I want to see Sanji and Zoro evolve to the level that they're viewed as calamities, and they can't do that if they're going to fight bastardized calamities where they're injured.
Well,
so
One Piece is all about ambiguity, so
yeah, they're all about ambiguity. So I don't think Oda can actually have it done here, because he runs the risk of injuring either characters. Because right now, kind of need all hands on deck. Right now, he needs everyone to come together and fight in his cause. Because Sasaki is already out, because he can't do anything. So we only have and Drake, of course. You know that Drake won't fight. So there's pretty much only 7 characters Oda can depend on. Ozu's on page 1, Ulti,
yeah,
Black Maria, Jack, Queen, and King. That you can throw a point there if you want.
Yeah, other than that, it's like,
yeah. So the nomination thing to fight the calamities are pretty much done. It can't happen unless Oda really wants to weaken the calamities.
Yeah,
which would be insane.
Big Mom.
So yeah, so Big Mom does the Elbaf spear, which it reinforces your strength, and the samurais. You're finally, it is kind of weird, because remember, the samurai doesn't really have an idea of what goes outside of Wano. So them seeing someone like Big Mom, it's like, Jesus Christ, like you're a Kaido out there.
Yeah, she's every bit as fearsome as Kaido.
It goes back to Odin's statement when he heard about the world government, where it's like, they're a world government who controls the world. I mean, they must have some insane people working for them, and he was so excited. It kind of draws a parallel to that moment when the samurais are learning that, oh shit,
they got 2 Kaidos.
The 2 Kaidos, which again, it remind me of when Killua was trying to explain to Gong how strong the Phantom Troop were, and he's like, yeah, they're 2 Hisokas. And he pretty much get it, like, yeah.
Leorio was like, alright.
No, they're 2 Hisokas.
Like, alright, I get it now.
God. So Zeus and Nami and Big Mom feud. Oh God. Nami's determined to get Zeus.
It's cute, but Nami's definitely leaving with Zeus. This is going to be permanent.
Definitely leaving with Zeus. I mean, I don't see the point of developing a relationship only to have Big Mom take him back.
Yeah.
Shit, even Prometheus too. I mean, who the fuck knows?
Yeah, I mean, and then Oda had Big Mom drop Nami's epithet.
Yes, which is pretty cute.
Yeah, which goes to her, she's stealing Zeus, it's like, that's what Nami does.
Yep.
But then I'm like, with her, if she gets Zeus permanently, does that alter her epithet? Because I think they get new epithets post Wano.
I think Zoro's in need of one, and I think they probably do get new epithets. Because again, these epithets were created prior to them joining the crew. I mean, Brook has his, Zoro has his, Nami has hers.
Yeah.
I mean, Sanji's one is pretty. Was before, because he learned the black leg style.
His is weird. Yeah,
he is kind of weird. But again, it can be the argument that he has the black leg style prior to joining.
Now he has a raid suit.
Now he has a raid suit. Yeah. So no epithets will be given, but again,
I think it'd be perfect if he got
it should be
Stealth
given.
Black as like his name on the rates on his bounty, because that's not what he wants.
Sanji as what?
He doesn't want to get associated with Event Smoke, but then they have Stealth Black.
Yes, I think that probably Oda's gonna do, troll him again.
Yeah, exactly. That's what Oda does.
And that makes a lot of sense too, because when you understand the person who's gonna be reporting down the news, the person will most likely be Drake, who has a vast knowledge of the Vince.
Yeah, so the guy, that's Stealth Black.
That's Stealth Black, yes.
Yep, that's definitely it.
Yep,
that's definitely it.
I wonder
And I think
Drake
Nami's may have something to do with like the weather or something, or just being a witch.
Nami?
Yeah.
I think Nami and Kaido will indeed have a battle over who's going to control the weather, because it was pretty foreshadowed that the Mings told Nami that we need to be able to see the moon very clearly to go so long. So I'm assuming Kaido will block the weather at some point, and Nami will have to use Zeus to clear up the clouds and mid the Mings see the moon again.
Yeah.
So that power is gonna come along. Nami being saved by Brooke
and
Frankie, which I said something on Twitter that's saying that interaction with the Emperor is not about strength anymore, because if it was about strength, Oda would only have like a handful of people actually clash with the Emperors. It's about more so goal, about some whatever goal you want to you're trying to accomplish.
Right.
If the Emperor is going after one thing, you go for the other thing, and you clash, that's kind of how it's gonna go. Because there's so many ways Oda could actually save Nami here. Luffy's Rio, Zoro, Kid, Killer. I mean, could have a combination of those. A lot of ways. But he chose this one, which again, just reinforces that anyone can clash with an Emperor. It's not that big of a deal anymore.
Yeah, I think with the Emperors, their reputation, it can carry them really far, but then when you get down to the nitty gritty, all of these people, they have flaws, they have weaknesses, they have things that you can take advantage of. For Blackbeard, one of those things was his overconfidence, and we saw how quickly Magellan took advantage of that.
Of course.
Right? Where Magellan effectively destroyed his entire crew. Quickly. One shot his entire crew. Right? We saw with Kaido just got hurt by the Scabbards.
Yep.
Kaido literally just got hurt by someone who we think could be comparable to Brooke?
Yeah. Pretty much.
Right?
Kiko.
Right? So it's like with the Emperors, they're still really strong, but in the right circumstance, you could get the best of them in that moment.
Yeah.
Now don't get it twisted. Just because Brooke and Sanji or Brooke and Frankie did that doesn't mean that they can compete with the Yonko, right?
No.
It's just in this moment they just took advantage of it. Where I don't like when people try to, I guess, kind of twist things, and like they use these things to kind of twist it to just push forth an agenda. When it's like, come on, bro. Like, we understand what's going on here, And
my counter to this is always to make people understand that it's not just Big Mom who being caught in scenarios that are questionable. Even Kaido as well. I mean, Kaido fought out the animals, and Yasue lived. Kaido countered he cornered Ashura Doji and Denjiro, and they survived. So
yeah.
I mean, he has been in scenarios too where you'll be like, why did he let them live, or why didn't he completely wreck them? But again, when he faced certain scenarios and people determine, well, things happen.
Yeah.
So I'm not gonna charge this against Big Mom. My only worry is that her getting hit in the face isn't really a trigger for the amnesia. The old Lin plot line, please no.
I think if it happens again, it would not be the Olin plot line. It would be a completely new thing where Big Mom now starts to explore those forgotten memories.
Forgotten memories of who? Mother Carmel?
Yeah.
The issue is that Big Mom didn't really see what happened to Mother Carmel.
The thing is, here's the thing.
She closed her eyes.
Because I was, remember I mentioned it as far as like situations in which certain things you go through, you kind of force yourself to forget it.
Okay.
But I don't think Big Mom, like, it to her, it didn't happen. Like, what happened? Big Mom knows what happened. Big Mom, she just, in terms of what? In regards to Mother Carmel. I believe what's happening where she's like, oh, I don't know what happened. Where did you go? Is like a defense mechanism her body's put up to help her cope with what she did.
Because I mean, it is pretty common sense. I mean, if you're eating and you close your eyes, and you said it yourself that you feel even clothes in your mouth, and you feel the wood from the table. I mean, you pretty much can put your common sense together.
Yeah,
and that's
but
what
you
happened.
can't. But the thing is, you refuse to think about.
Okay, that possibility. Okay, yes. I see what you're saying. Yeah. Yep, I see what you're saying.
At some point, we are going to have to explore that with Big Mom.
Yes. That's good. That's good. Because I've always said that Big Mom can't remember Mother Carmel because she never saw what happened to her. But when you put it that way, it does make sense. Because even though Big Mom might not have seen that she ate her, she must at least can explore the possibility that maybe I did. I did
but she doesn't want to. She doesn't even want to think
about that. Yep.
No,
true. I agree with that.
But that's why I think it's becoming more and more apparent that Big Mom, she's here. She's building up the threat level of just Yonko being here, but nobody's gonna take her out. She's gonna take herself out.
No, she's definitely gonna self-explode.
Yeah,
I'm worried about that damn question mark on the bottom. I hope that's the question mark for the audience that saw Frankie hit Big Mom, and not her question mark, where she's like, who I am, where I am. I don't want Olin to be back, honestly.
I don't mind it, honestly. I'm at a point where I'm like,
if Olin is back with Kaido, oh god, Kaido being occupied and all that. Oh, Jesus.
I'm just kind of like, let's get through it. Let's get past it.
Yeah, let's get past it. Hopefully, it's not the means by which Luffy defeats Kaido. Because if Big Mom did it, then no. It would somewhat be what happened in Avatar when they proposed that Iroh should beat Ozai.
Yeah,
probably could get it done. It could weaken him, but it's not his job to get it done. The story needs the Avatar to do it. So the story needs Supernovas to do it because they need notoriety from it to actually propel themselves to be viewed as an emperor, or at least viewed in that sense in the world. So they need these feats. Big Mom doesn't. But what do you think about Frankie and General Frankie? I mean, he has a lot of feats. I mean, a component of his General Frankie form tanking attack from Big Mom. I know he's using another part to hit her, which caused him damage. I mean, did Frankie truly build the anti-Yonko weapon? I mean, what the fuck is going on here?
It seems like he did.
He most likely did. I wouldn't be surprised next chapter if Zeus also discharged, because Zeus is charged up, so I wouldn't be surprised if he discharged and shocks Big Mom or shocks somebody. And the chapter ends in that note. So, do you have any predictions that you're predicting for next week?
I think we get a continuation of Sanji and King a little bit.
Yeah.
I think King officially joins the fray, where now we see King a lot more active. And I think we see Nekomushi and Arashi, they transform some more from them. And I think Oda may show Marco and Perospero.
That's what I actually want. I want to see Marco and his Perospero, because I think it's imperative that Oda establish the relationship early on, so we know what they're actually trying to accomplish.
So somebody pointed out in that panel with Perospero and Marco, are they together or is he being chased by Marco?
That doesn't make any sense. I mean, Perospero was in a position where we need to land, and Marco would have to actually let him get past him. And given the insane gap in strength, I mean, Jesus Christ, how weak could Marco be where Perospero could actually land
and run away
and then run away from them while Marco is chasing them? No, I think it's pretty much confirmed that they're in together, and it complements Marco's capabilities. Because again, Marco isn't dumb, and he knows the personality of the Big Mom pirates. So it wouldn't really surprise me if he could tell that Perospero would be one who be more amenable to some negotiation, and it makes sense to Perospero too, because he doesn't want his alliance at all. So
right, it helps both of them.
It helps both of them. Again, they're in too close of a proximity to them to actually be enemies. Unless Marco just completely just doesn't want to beat them up, then I don't know, and that would look bad on Marco again. I mean, come on, really?
You can't take no more L's, Marco.
Exactly, Perospero. I mean, really? That's someone that Marco would probably fatherize. I don't even think. I think it's a discussion. I think they're definitely allied. Next chapter for me, I would agree with you that we get some more. Well, I would hope we get a conclusion to what happened between Sanji and King, because if it keeps brewing, Jesus Christ, Sanji would be wrecked every day, because the more we don't see it, the more awful it becomes, man. The more we don't see Sanji get up quickly, it's like, oh God. So I'm hoping
that's true.
I'm hoping Oda gets that out quickly, because if he stays down
for a while,
he's gonna be viewed the same way as Snacks, where we haven't seen Snack after the judge enemy fired, and people think he's dead. So,
in the anime, Snack was with Big Mom.
Yes, I saw that panel. I saw that, and that's a dangerous move. That's a dangerous move, because Snack is not just some random addition to Big Mom's squad.
Yeah, I'm like, that's is this canon or is like which one do we go by?
Because I went back to check chapter 930. And
he's not in the manga, but he's in the anime
at all. So.
Or did Oda forget to draw him?
But bro, I have no idea. But the anime, the anime did something huge there.
The anime had Snack.
Because if Snack is actually here, that makes the Big Mom pirates pretty formidable. I mean, apart from Cracker and Katakuri, everyone's pretty here.
Yeah. All the top dogs are here for the most part.
Because I don't think Big Mom would have Perospero, Daifuku, and Smoothie to be the highlight ones who are deflecting the cannonballs from the Beast Pirates and not show Snack.
He don't show Snack at all.
Even though he's a commander, he's a
maybe the anime messed up. Maybe the anime messed up, but they drew an entire character, bro.
Yes, they definitely messed up, because I don't think I saw him again after that. So we will know for sure. Okay, have we gotten the scene where Perospero was talking about him becoming the pirate captain? Gotten that scene, right? If he's not there in that scene, then
wait, have we gotten that scene? No, we haven't gotten that scene yet, right?
No, we should have, because it happened in chapter 934. We should have gotten that scene already. Well, I'm gonna go research, but I think we should have gotten that scene already.
I think that's where Snack was.
No, I saw Snack at chapter. I saw Snack in the anime version of when Big Mom was coming to Wano before King kicked her off.
Yeah.
Before King kicked her off, and in the manga, we never saw him in that conversation in chapter 934. I'm looking at it right now. He wasn't there at all. So the anime definitely messed up. They messed that up big time, because in the manga chapter 934 we saw Flampe, Daifuku, Perospero, and the rest of them. So I'm assuming that Snack would be a big enough name for Oda to show him, and he hasn't been shown. So the anime definitely messed that up. They should go fix that quickly. But then again, the anime have messed up very simple things that you have fixed, because King Wing was initially white.
Yeah,
did you know that?
That's true. Yeah, in the opening.
It was white, which I think is such an amateur mistake. I mean, Jesus Christ, it's clearly painted black. How did you make that mistake?
What about Shanks having 2 arms?
2 arms. When he met Ace.
Yeah.
There's even scenes where there are 2 Zoro in one scene. So the anime have made some mistakes. I mean, they're not perfect, but they've been doing great for the last 2 years. So let's wait and see. But I'm not opposed to this not being here, because if he is here, that pretty much makes the arc even more exciting, because they get one more strong people to fight. So that's it for the chapter review. I mean, we went for a very long time. We talk about stuff that we didn't really plan to talk about, but it's a One Piece discussion. Shit happens.
Yep. That's how it goes.
It happens. So guys, drop your comments in the comment section below. Talk about stuff that you disagree with. Not agree with, because I hate when people agree with me, because it doesn't lead to fun discussion to me if you just say you like what I said. So talk about stuff that you disagree with. I mean, seriously, I mean, if you just keep agreeing with me every day, I mean, what do I ever improve? So drop your disagreements there.
I don't mind your agreements. You can agree. If you say the things you agree and disagree with. How about that?
Yeah, I think I agree or disagree, but please, put the disagreements first. Like, think about disagreements first, please.
But people always put disagreements, so
yes. Okay, so that's good.
That's something that's inevitable. People are always gonna disagree.
That's good. Tell me how you feel about the disagreements first, and what you like to. Yeah. And that's pretty much it. Thanks for coming out again, and
subscribe, all that good stuff.
Yep. Well, I didn't even subscribe, because I don't even. Still be honest, I don't even care. I don't even care about the subscription at this point. I'm like, shit. Yeah, I don't even. We can follow me on Twitter and follow Brago on Twitter as well, and subscribe to Brago channel. Of course, let's try to get Brago the Ace where it deserves to be in the 100K category. Trust me, it deserves to be there. And that pretty much that's it. Lando checking out. Exodus.
Peace.